Live.
I think that's
We're
it.
live.
I think
Fantastic.
it says you're live.
Yeah, you're live.
How do we know? Can you look on your phone?
I can.
I'll start to go.
Yeah.
We have to go to Cape Fear Surf Shop. We're going to the other one. And
Yeah, let's.
we're at the one in Holden Beach. Live from Holden Beach, North Carolina.
Where do I see live?
Just go to
Yeah, I can see.
so
Yeah.
go to that site where it says Tech and Teslas. Click on that
Okay, Teslas.
and see if it's live.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so turn that on. I think it's live.
I can see that.
And
Wow, this is great.
yeah, so we've got about 20 minutes. Oh, look what's coming. I'll turn this
yeah.
on.
It's awesome.
There he goes. Yeah, there's one here on the car, but they're so big.
Yeah, it's
So
really
big. So this
Phil
guy sitting next to me, we met at Westin, Singapore,
April 2001.
April 2001.
Yeah.
Yep. And you were working as a technical support, technical sales before acquisition.
Before acquisition.
Sunil,
Yes.
MK Sunil.
Yeah.
There you go.
Some people call me the Revit guru in Asia. Just because I'm from
Yes.
India, you know?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's right. All the Revit gurus. It's been, I think, we were counting the countries. So Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan, China,
Malaysia.
Hong Kong, Malaysia. Yep, a couple of times to Malaysia, Brunei.
Brunei.
Where else?
And you did not come to India.
I've never been.
That's sad.
I sent Adam
Yeah,
when he was still in university
that's right.
for implementation project.
Right.
So my goodness,
It's so
how
long.
things have changed and kind of
And
staying
we
the
didn't
same.
have WhatsApp and Twitter then.
Where the customers would complain when there was a new update for Revit
Yeah.
because they would have to download a file on a tiny internet connection,
Right.
and they're begging IT for 4 megabytes of RAM, 8 megabytes of RAM,
Absolutely.
128 megabytes of RAM.
And people would tell me that Revit can only do 3 or 4 floors.
No, at the time, no work sharing.
No work sharing.
Definitely no Autodesk Cloud.
No Revit structure, no MEP.
Yep.
Only
Yep.
building.
Only buildings.
Yeah.
Only the architecture part.
Wow. When you came, then only I could feel that Revit could do something. Generic components.
We had good meetings.
Good meetings. Yeah.
Good meetings and good dinners. Good
Yeah.
customers. Not all big ones. I think sometimes the big ones were slow.
Right.
They were a little more cautious. They would wait to see what the competition was doing, and then they will talk.
It was mostly medium-sized firms.
Yeah, and some small ones.
Small ones. Too.
Jim.
Yeah.
But then the
even
bigger-
Wesley Ben was one of our first customers.
Yep, he was the first one I think in Australia.
Yeah.
And there was so very small customers to medium size, but we did have I think Public Works was one of the big ones.
Yes, public works.
They started investigating
It was called CPG at the time.
CPG, and
They
then
started.
yep
Then but some of the big firms were looking into it,
looking but not
Not-
yet moving.
not moving.
They make a lot of plans first. The big
Yeah.
ones they have to plan to move.
Yeah.
So since with
And even,
Autodesk,
like someone in I think KL said Revit or Rabbit.
Rabbit, yeah.
Called Rabbit.
yeah.
Like, it was funny.
It's still with Siri. If I'm dictating and I say Revit, it will say Rabbit sometimes. It's
Oh.
very annoying. I don't know
Yeah.
if anyone at Autodesk can have Apple fix that voice or add it to the Siri dictionary, because then I have to review the email. So things have. So you were at Autodesk for a long time. Do you want to talk about all the different companies you've been with since Autodesk?
Yeah, I've been.
Wait, I should mention you eventually went from technical support or technical sales in
into sales.
Singapore, into Asia Pacific,
Sales,
into eventually, what did you do in India?
So I was running the AEC sales in India, and then I did sales development roles, even government, industry, marketing, government. Yeah, it has been nice doing some of the mandate stuff, government mandates on BIM
Oh my goodness.
across Asia. That was good.
Yep.
Then I don't know, overall I spent about 20 years, 20 years at Autodesk.
Yep.
I joined, left or whatever. I joined Autodesk 3 times. Right?
Everyone works at Autodesk once. It's a good experience.
Yeah, it's a good
You worked
experience.
3 times.
3 times, yeah. And I worked at New Forma.
Yep.
I spent some time with Pinnacle, Infotech, and now I'm with Bentley.
Ooh. But so you stayed in AEC
I stayed in AEC, yes, mostly in AEC.
and studied architecture.
Studied architecture. Yeah.
I can't believe if we had Revit when we were in architecture school.
Then maybe I wouldn't have done sales. Maybe I would have continued to
Actually
design
stayed in
building.
architecture. It's hard to say. I don't know if we could have done projects faster, or the professor would have just said, okay, instead of 3, I want 5.
Right.
Instead of 5, I want 10. And then we're still sleeping 2 hours a night on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, but I look now when I go into firms and I see internet is open, email is open, Revit is open.
Yeah. And maybe iPhone is also.
It's a sea of Revit
Yeah.
screens, and I go, wow, it really did happen.
Yeah.
Because it was early days,
It happens
and
to
people
be
were.
also when I go to firms
Yep.
and when I kind of look around what's on the screen.
Mm.
So when I used to see Revit, I used to feel really good that
Yep.
all the walking we did in different cities
Oh my
really
gosh.
paid off. Right? How many
firms?
How many firms? Right? Initially, I think right from 2001 onwards, I think early customers, we have been to the early customers,
Yep.
most of the early customers across New Zealand, Australia, Japan.
At the time, I thought
Yeah.
Revit's going to work because the technology is good, the idea is good.
It was
But
the
later
ease,
on,
it
I
was the
think-
ease of.
Yeah, there was an enormous ease of use. I think it's,
Right.
if you're having to learn it now, there's a lot to learn. At the time, Revit had a lot of lacking features, so every new release would have more features, and you could learn it as you went along.
Right.
But now, I don't know if the better technology always prevails. Sometimes I think it has to do with the team behind it, and I don't know what would happen if Autodesk hadn't bought it, because Autodesk, the sun never sets on Autodesk. It's always somewhere is out there in the world, and it was pretty. There was a lot of not fighting, literal fighting, but there was a lot of smack talk in the industry about this technology or that technology, and even now I see open BIM projects and various tools where they're trying to make BIM-like workflow, and it looks like it works, but I don't know about the ecosystem of the team behind it, and so I haven't seen anything, even though it's been, this April was 24 years since Revit was out. I don't
Right.
know of anything that's coming close in terms of ecosystem.
Right. I think one of the biggest thing that happened once Autodesk acquired was actually all the development that happened quickly. The structural
Yep, yep.
MEP.
Structure and MEP, yeah.
And I think later on getting into construction and stuff like that. So
I
that
think it was a
helped.
seal of approval,
Yeah.
because when Autodesk bought Revit, it's signaled to the market it's okay for you to buy Revit. It's
That's
like
true.
they're casting their vote.
Yeah. Yeah, it was much easier after that.
If you're having a discussion with your director and they want to know who's making the software, not what the director doesn't want to know what the software does. They want to know, is it going to be around in 10 years? Because we're going to spend a lot of money
Right.
buying software, changing, behavior, training people, supporting people. Is the software going to be around in 10 years, 5 years? And so that signal to the market was, looking back, I think that was really the thing that made Revit succeed. It wasn't just the technology, it was also the seal of approval.
Yep. And also, I think at that time, some of the projects, unique projects that we did, I think one was the Freedom Tower that also changed the outlook, right? I think you were involved with that.
Yeah, and I think there was a visibility to that project, because if you're saying, people would ask, can Revit do projects? Yes. Can Revit do large projects? Yes. Yeah. Well, show me proof. And that was a very visual kind of proof, because it was a recognized project name. There were many, many struggles. There were so many challenges the file sizes were challenging. That was one thing, but I think we managed that. The challenges were trying to make documentation look like the standards that the companies had, and that was and there was no structural or mechanical. We just had to make pieces. There were no structural analysis. There was certainly no mechanical. So we just had to make pieces that we could put together as families. And so, does the technology do it?
Even after all that, even when I look at the industry today, though BIM has come a long way, I think it's still very much documentation driven. Finally, you need that documentation.
You need the instructions.
Yeah, you need
legal documents that give instructions.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to go away from that. People keep saying, "Oh, we should use the model for the contractor will use the model, maybe for coordination, but there's so much missing information,
right? And
not by.
In fact, I remember sometime we used to say, hey, we should have LCD panel and a 3D model at construction sites. But that did not happen.
Not so much.
Not so much. Still very much drawings. You don't know what is going to happen in future.
I don't know. I haven't figured out how to simplify the process. Drawings are complicated, but they're the most simple, because the drawings are abstractions of the building.
So I've also heard that can you bypass the BIM process, right? From early design process,
right?
You get
just have the model, or just
have the drawings through an AI process, right?
Okay, so actually that's it. Okay, so with regard to AI, what are you seeing in Singapore and Asia Pacific?
Not much actually, but I just recently heard something like, can you bypass the BIM model?
You mean, can you make the model and bypass the drawings? Or is it a different way to create the drawings?
Yeah, different way of creating the drawing through AI.
Right.
So let's say you have conceptual design.
Yep. In 3D.
In 3D, and you can have a system that would create 2D drawing to the standard that you require in different countries, maybe. Right?
Not even in different countries.
Yeah, even that.
If there's an architecture firm on that corner and an architecture firm on that corner, they have different arrowheads.
Yeah, they can create that drawing. Yeah. What
right
do you
now,
need? You need plan elevation sections.
Yeah.
So
I can't even get the carbon-based AI, the architectural intern. I can't even. It's hard to get them to do the drawings to the right standard. But the idea of being able to not have to manually coordinate drawings or create the drawings. If you say, I want the instructions for the building taken from this model. Yeah. There's a lot from the model that's not there.
Yeah, it's not there. Not everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
They don't do it. Actually. Some models are very detailed, some are not.
Yep. Actually, some firms we worked with, their details were so carefully, they had their own careful standards that they would use the model only as an underlay and then draw everything again.
Right.
Because they had very careful abstractions. And that was their standard. You couldn't model and use it as a detail because of the way things were exploded or changed slightly. But I don't know. I mean, if AI could understand how to make the drawings, do you even need a model? Would the AI know? If I could have really smart AI use 2D tools, would I need the model, or would it just create everything on demand as needed?
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, right? I think as industry is progressing, what I'm saying is that I did not see that you could actually, with the idea was to build in 3D using 3D. That did not happen. You see?
Right.
So the industry is still building with ultimately 2D drawings.
Yeah.
So
at least
there's
it's
still
more
possibility.
coordinated.
There's still possibility that some more disruption can happen.
Do you think
in
it's
the
more
industry.
detailed in a different industry if you're modeling, like if you did automotive or M&E, mechanical engineering or plant and process? Are the models more detailed, or is it the same thing that you're modeling very good enough in 3D and then the 2D contains it?
2D contains the data, right? At least 60, 70, 80% data comes out of 3D, and then you do.
Right.
But 2D drawings are what they use for.
So what do you think has changed that you didn't expect would happen so quickly in the AEC industry?
No, the people have moved to 3D.
So the people have changed.
People have changed.
There's so many 3D things now. 3D
Yeah.
was a specialist environment, but when Revit and SketchUp, that made 3D, it seemed like overnight,
right,
in a
everybody
very
can do
short
it.
time.
Yeah.
Anyone could do it. And what else in 3D now? Rhino, Blender.
Yeah, and after all this, I think people are not. Early on, there used to be a lot of high quality renderings and all, but today the people are okay with basic rendering, but with more views,
more renderings
to
a slightly less quality is better
quality.
than one rendering at a very high quality.
That's right.
It was. So if 3D was a specialist tool 20 years ago, I think for a long time, you're right, the rendering part of it almost stayed a specialty.
Yeah.
But now the rendering part is a commodity. It's just a byproduct.
Just a byproduct, yeah, that's right. So that's kind of,
What do you think hasn't changed that you thought was that we would have thought was going to change 20 years ago that actually hasn't changed yet? That's still.
No, I would have thought like construction completely moves into a 3D mode, right? Using the 3D model a lot more, but that is not so.
You mean the design model or any model?
Design model. Ultimately, you need to build, right? That process, design to build process, still very much maybe 5% of all buildings are actually using that BIM process.
Right.
So that's.
Do you think it's because of the lacking information in the model, or is it because of some other business reason?
No, I think there are multiple reasons. Right? I think still not all buildings are very detailed. That's what's required for construction.
Right.
Not many people can do that.
Okay.
And that's also the reason why you have so many outsourcing firms.
That they're taking the drawings and modeling it for the contractor for special purpose.
Right.
The thing is,
if there is a mandate for BIM, then only the building, that project happens in BIM, maybe.
If you make a mistake in Revit, you can unmake the mistake almost at zero cost.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake on site, it's very expensive. So I feel like they're very cautious to change technology because the goal is do it fast enough, but do it once. Don't put me in a situation where I have to change my schedule because now I have to do it twice because you had wrong information or bad information. So maybe the most cautious way, or it's not efficient, but if it's predictable, the most predictable way is give me your instructions. I want drawings in 2D that are definitive instructions.
Right.
Don't give me the model and make me figure out how something goes together. It could be, I might look at it from the wrong way, or it might be confusing. And
that's also because so many different category of people work in the industry. Not everybody can read all information as well they could do.
Right. That's one thing, I remember thinking, you won't need drawings in the future.
Yeah.
We'll just have the computer.
Right.
There are more drawings now. There's the prints. There's still paper. So much paper.
So much paper. Yeah. Really, that was what we thought, that, okay, you don't need to print the drawings. You don't need drawings. You would just be
Look on the screen.
On the screen. But that has not happened.
They're still using screens. They're using iPads. They're using phones. They're using. We had no iPhone in 2001.
Yeah. So
But they're still using a ton of paper.
the speed of change has been not as much as we thought it would be.
Right. And this is what you're seeing across Asia Pacific.
Yeah. They were the same. I think construction industry overall is still very. It's a fragmented industry. It remains so.
Right.
Across.
But the teams come and go. When there's a new project, the contractor puts together the team. So you might not be working with the same
team.
people from last time.
Yeah.
So they need a way
Still
to work that everyone can work. You can't just say, copy the last project and do it again.
You can't do that. Yeah. That's there.
What do you think
It's always a new team.
Always a new team. Especially if you don't play well with the last team.
Yeah.
You don't get invited back.
Yes.
So what do you think will change? What do you think is something that might really disrupt and I shouldn't even say disrupt, because disrupt is such an overused term. What do you think is really going to improve the process in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think what I feel is maybe the construction technology will become a lot more efficient and using more machine robotics in terms of building that
automation.
Automation in construction process would be something that will come up. So let's look at,
Give me an
example. Just when I look at today the cameras, the photographs that you take through some of the cameras, it can read a lot more information.
You mean anything from a camera or special cameras?
No, I'm just special cameras. Now you have traffic cameras that can read the number plate from the photograph.
Right.
So that the technology is changing quite fast, right? So I think there'll be a lot more new technologies in construction that will enable faster construction.
Do you see robotics? I see layout robots. I don't know how much they're being used. But
Robotics in construction, let's say more machines in construction.
Right.
Whatever. So
more machines that you set an automated process.
The automated process. So
I don't see so much 3D printing yet. It's still, there's so much setup involved.
Yeah.
Once you set it up, there's a certain inflexibility, and but I'm looking at these little robots.
You can only save so much time in the design process, whether you use 2D drawing or BIM or whatnot.
Right.
But I think kind of savings that can come if you kind of make construction process more efficient, right? So I think more automation in construction is going to be driving a lot of changes in the next 5-10 years.
Are you seeing anything now that's kind of like on the edge?
I think there's more precast. People are thinking more in terms of precast.
And this is in Asia Pacific.
Yeah. So there's
even
more,
in India, precast, or is it still block?
India is also going in terms of more precast. People are really realizing that, okay, if I do off-site manufacturing, that would help build faster, save more material, labor. Right?
So it's just assembly on site. The manufacturing is done somewhere else.
So I think bringing efficiency in construction process would be something that we'll see.
Look, I see these robots that they're doing at Tesla, and I'm thinking, if that robot can hold a nail gun and you trust it, something like that, if they're $20,000, $30,000, that's half the price of someone doing construction.
Mm.
The other thing is robots can work. They don't need light to work necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you imagine? You could have a work site that's very quiet, but things are happening at night.
24 hours.
24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Weather maybe doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
Cold, hot.
So that could be a big change. I see that.
We're almost at Cape Fear Surf Shop.
Okay.
It's just up
Great.
here. And yep, the big town of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, it's
So-
been so wonderful to be here.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
And then later we're going to go to Crazy Mary's
Crazy.
and show you the local
Let's see.
Fever Dream Art Collective. If you ever, I'll put a link. I'll submit the link to Crazy Mary's Art Studio. It's something that I bring every architect to. And the first time I brought someone, I think it was Carrie Thompson, he looked around and he goes, "I know architects that haven't built this much stuff." She's quite a character. Mary Pawsen. So I'll show you that, and then we'll go to lunch at Provision Company with
Yeah.
Mike, owner of Cape Fear. So thanks,
do
Sunil.
that.
I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
Thanks for
Really
coming to Holden
appreciate it.
Beach.
Thanks
And,
for hosting me here.
I
It
know.
was
You have to come back.
a wonderful place.
I have to go quick across this. I'm
Yeah.
not going to turn it off yet. I'm going to go across
let's
first.
cross.
Okay. Get out of the way of the big truck. All right. I think we're here.
Nice.
All right. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. That's done.
I think so. I think I stopped it.
Yeah, you stopped it. Stop broadcasting.